that we cannot let this date go by. There are hundreds of thousands of inventors who have been sidelined as a result of the America Invents Act.
U.S. Supreme Court ruled that PTAB judges were unconstitutionally appointed. PTAB judges receive bonuses, financial incentive, bonuses in order to invalidate patents. The PTAB tribunals make it easier for sophisticated defendants to kill patents held by legitimate inventors. Wall Street Journal stated the Patent Trial and Administrative Board was supposed to make the system better. It hasn't.
The U.S. patent system leveled the field for all, regardless of race, gender, or economic status. Some have referred to it as the first affirmative action law. It was to promote the progress of the United States. As Abraham Lincoln observed, patents add the fuel of interest to the fire of genius. For over 200 years, a plethora of startups were funded based primarily on their patents, driving a business environment that propelled the United States to lead the world in virtually every new technology. All of this was destroyed with the American Invents Act of 2011. The PTAB is a non-judicial court, an administrative tribunal, with the sole purpose of invalidating the very same patents that the Patent and Trademark Office just granted at the request of multinational corporations.
How you can have litigation for decades, and how you can actually prove your point in a court of law again and again and again, and have one stroke of the pen remove all of that. It's mind-boggling.
I bet you most of our elected officials at the federal level don't even understand this situation right now. How we have what are called courts that are not courts. We have these groups of folks that are not judges but are called judges. And our founding fathers recognized that innovation and strong property rights in technology would be a huge asset to this country, and it has been the entire history of this country.
If you think about it, it is very hard to think of something important that wasn't invented in America. Something caused America to lead the world in innovation for 200 years. What our founders said was, hey, we're going to be different. We're going to say that if you invent something, you come up with something that's never been done, you can own it. You can own it. But that all came to a grinding halt on this day, September 16th, 2011, with the passage of the America Invents Act. This has become what is used by large corporations to invalidate the patents that they're accused of infringing.
You can't fix stupid.
How in the world can the USPTO, in good consciousness, say after 3 to 5 years of struggling through their examiners, and their examiners are tough, they come out and say, we grant you a patent. And then they come back, the USPTO, and say, wait a minute, no. How did we grant you that patent? You know, are we saying that the USPTO made a mistake and now we got to prove that they didn't? It's nuts. This is just a backdoor way for big corporations, big money, to come in and steal what we've all worked for.
Abolish the PTAB! Abolish the PTAB!
It's really easy to go in and invalidate almost any patent. What it does, it invalidates the patent system as a whole. If you can just have the money, go to the PTAB, challenge the patents, and you've got that kind of chance to win, then patent owners don't stand a chance.
And the only time the word right is used is with regard to inventors and authors. It predated guns, religion, freedom to assemble, all of the other rights in the Bill of Rights by 3 years. This was more important to the founding fathers, inventors and authors, than any of the other rights. Since the American Invents Act passed, we went from number 1 in innovation to number 11 in innovation in the world.
I wrote this book, Blood in the Water, America's Assault on Innovation, because I have only huge respect for everybody who has lost so much. When somebody says, well, why'd you write the book? Well, because it's got to stop. I mean, we are all the choir, and we are preaching to each other. But the most important thing here is that the policy has to change. And the only way to do that, as we know, is to get loud. This is a call to action to get as many other inventors on board so that we can try and make a policy change.
I'm an inventor. I have about 40 utility patents. The space shuttle went up, used the technology process that I created. And I wanted to create a product that was a case study of my design process. I call it differentiation by design. And then we're here to mark the 10-year anniversary of AIA, and I do a lot of advocacy in Washington for inventors. And the reality is that I don't believe that the people that voted for it understood the unintended consequences that it's created, because what happened, we had piracy for all the years that I've been an inventor, but the AIA just put it on steroids in the context that now you can get PTAB'd and you could lose your rights without any due process at all.
We've got 10 years of the 2011 American Invents Act that has cost small and mid-sized business innovators billions of dollars in hard expense outlays. That's not to mention the tens of billions in lost revenues. Patent system that has been weaponized against the very individuals that it was built to protect. The innovators, the inventors, the business people, but ultimately the middle class, us.
For 25 years, the patent system worked. For the last 10 years, it's been a disaster. The patent system that was conceived by the founders really worked until 10 years ago. Thomas Jefferson said specifically that the embarrassment of a monopoly, the phrase he used, must only be thoughtfully granted to individual and small partners to promote innovation and never to increase the market power of already powerful companies or foreign states.
The PTAB itself is teetering on its constitutionality. It's been weaponized, politicized. It adds nothing but risk and disincentive to small businesses, independent inventors, innovators, and it must go.
We cannot be fighting these big tech corporations forever in these invalidation moves that they have, because of course that's part of the playbook.
Till it goes to you and it happens to you, you don't realize how bad the system is. So I've been fighting this thing for the last 3-4 years, and somebody needs to stand up to these billion-dollar companies, and I'm very, very fortunate to have people like US Inventors doing these things for the small inventors.
Regardless of the person that you are, no matter what your morals are, PTAB's evil. And it's out there to hurt people like me, out there to hurt people like you. And, you know, I'll be damned, it needs to be abolished.
Pleased to have you out here today to recognize the plight of the individual inventor who has the confidence in our systems in America to disclose his idea and invention to the entire world via a patent.
is actually a certificate of bankruptcy, because that's what's going to happen.
Unfortunately, when they do that, the big companies come by and say, that's a good idea, I'm going to copy it. You're going to challenge me on my use of your patent? Well, I'll see you in court. And oh, by the way, the government has been purchased. The big companies challenge the validity of an individual inventor's patent, and they invalidate north of 80% of those patents. Any one of these women and men behind me, individual inventors, have been stiffed by the current system because the current system flat out doesn't work.
So inventor rights are not being protected. We need to change the laws. The laws are taking advantage of veterans, minorities, women, every individual that's an inventor, they're taking advantage of. Big companies are getting in line and paying to steal patents, and that's just not right.
In 2006, I quit my job because I believe in the American dream. If I took a chance, it succeeded, I could own it, I could build a business, I could compete, I could provide for my family. 2006, the Supreme Court says, no, patents. Well, we're not going to let the inventor decide who can use our invention or how it's used. We're going to have the judges decide, and the economists will decide how much it's worth. And we'll take your property away from you, and we'll let these big companies use it, and we'll decide how much they owe you.
As an inventor, first of all, just trying to create a patent is a challenge in itself. Now all of a sudden I'm being sued for my trademark name and they want my patent for nothing. Well, how do you defend that? So I'm 7.5, 8 years into my patent, they just don't want me to get to trial. So it's just a game, and they totally abuse that system.
It's the independent inventors, it's the little guy that comes up with the most creative ideas. We're the ones that think the furthest outside the box, because we're not part of a big organization, a big corporation that makes their living by playing it safe. Rather than paying a modest fee to the originator, they want to just go ahead and cancel it. We're the ones that have gone out on the limb, have spent the money on a patent, have spent the money on marketing or development, prototypes, and bringing a product to the market. And to have that stripped away, have that taken from us, it's criminal.
I got an opportunity to go and live in China for 2 years as a major in the Air Force. I and my wife and 2 boys lived in Shanghai. Rather than them becoming like us, we are slowly becoming like them. And in fact, what you see is a decline in our civil liberties. Rather than just stealing your ideas, they're also stealing your country. If you're an innovator and you don't get to protect your ideas, then that's really destroying kind of the fabric of who we are as a people. That's why I'm an inventor. I'm a CEO of a company that wants to do things here in America for Americans and other democracies. And we need to invest in rebuilding this country, and this is one of the most important things that we could do. So thank you for allowing me to come and talk.
Patent thieves are bullies! Patent thieves are bullies!
The founders intended the exact opposite, for patents to support and protect individual inventors who have been the backbone of America.
That's what we're here, and we're trying to bring attention to this plight because Americans invented all kinds of things. We were the cradle of invention because inventors' rights were recognized in this country. When that ceases to occur, the inventive talent will just lay down and say, I got to do something different. We can do something, we must do something to be able to reignite the inventive spirit within America.